Hey there everybody, Trent Dyrsmid here. Welcome back to episode number 107 of the Brightideas Daily Nugget. So in today's video, we are going to talk about how to use and why to use Facebook groups to generate perpetual traffic for your e-commerce business. And then after we talk about that, we're going to answer a question that was submitted by Rich Leo. All right, so let's dive into this. First of all, why do you need traffic? If you're selling wholesale on Amazon, as an example, doesn't Amazon already have enough traffic? I mean, goodness gracious, it's the most popular website in the world for e-commerce. There's lots and lots of traffic. Why would I need to generate my own traffic? Well, there's a couple of key reasons why having a traffic asset will really help your business. Reason number one is when you're talking to a prospective brand and trying to convince them to authorize you as one of their approved sellers, or ideally make you the exclusive seller on their listing, they're gonna look forward and they're gonna go, so what makes you different anyway? And being able to say to them that you can drive traffic to their product listings on demand, or being able to show them that you can drive traffic to their product listings on demand, that is a powerful tool to have in your toolbox. The other thing another thing that having traffic on demand will enable you to do, and when I say traffic on demand, what I mean is a list, a Facebook group, being able to put a post in that there's a lot of people that are going to see that post. That's what I mean when I say traffic on demand. So let's say you're working with a brand, and let's say they're a really successful brand, and they've decided to give you a trial run to let you help them launch some products, or let you help them work on some of their slower listings. That's hard to do if you don't have a list, if you don't have traffic on demand. So if you have a niche specific Facebook group and an associated email list, and I'll explain in a few minutes how you can create those assets, that gives you the power to be able to drive traffic to those new listings to help them launch products. And that is going to bode very well for your relationship with that particular brand. Back a couple of episodes ago, I interviewed a fellow by the name of Travis Marziani, who launched his own brand, and creating a Facebook group was a critical part of that process. And he then went on to use that audience to make a successful Kickstarter campaign, which gave him the $15,000 of seed capital that he needed to get his own brand off the ground. So there's all sorts of reasons, I'm hoping that you're seeing there's all sorts of reasons to have a Facebook group. Okay, so how do you build one? Well, there is a number of ways that you could build one. Let's talk about a couple of the top ones. You could set up a group and run a lot of Facebook advertising. Now, I don't think you can actually promote a group directly in an ad. I'm almost sure that you can't, but you could build a URL to a landing page on your blog and then get people to go to the group from there. That would be one way of doing it. But the flaw in that approach, the advertising approach, is just the cost. The cost of those clicks, the fact that you're renting, so to speak, that traffic. And given the alternatives I'm going to explain, I think you'll find that maybe that isn't the best approach. Now, that is probably the most scalable approach. So if you have the money, I'm not saying that advertising is not a worthwhile exercise. I'm just saying that it might not be the most cost-effective exercise for you in the beginning. So, well, another thing you could do is you could build a blog and a podcast like I've done. And I will tell you that's a very slow method, or at least it has been for me. Now, part of the reason is just because of me, because I've never put building my personal brand as one of my top priorities. And so as a result, my content doesn't get produced as often or as regular as it should, and I don't promote it as often as regular as I should, and I don't network with other creators as often or as regular as I should, because I've got my own other businesses that are not dependent upon my personal brand. Nonetheless, I do have a Facebook group now that has, 1,400, 1,500 people in it that maybe over the last 2 years, something like that. I don't even know exactly the amount of time, but it wasn't super, super quick. But it did just kind of happen as a byproduct of my being a content creator. So that's another strategy. And in the long term, potentially, if you do a good enough job with your personal brand, which is one of my priorities going forward, then that could work really well also. And then the final way, and what I meant to say by this, and I should correct myself, this is to build a list, not to build a Facebook group. So you could advertise to build a list. You could blog to build an email list, or you could create a Facebook group to build an email list. So hopefully that didn't confuse you guys. Sorry about that. So why would you want to use a Facebook group as a way to build a list? Well, here's why. When you build a Facebook group, if you do it correctly, which I'll share with you how to do here in a little bit, you will have high levels of engagement by the members of that group. And when that happens, the Facebook algorithm will look at your group and they'll go, wow, that's a really, really active group. People really like that one. And Facebook is very concerned about the user experience, just like Google is, rightfully so. So Facebook is going to go and promote your group to other users for free. You don't have to spend any money on advertising to get that additional exposure. Now, you do have to create the group, which is free to do, and you do have to create the engagement, which does take some time to do. But fortunately, I have a solution for you. Before we get to the solution, actually, I want to talk about the benefits. Obviously, by having a Facebook group and an email list, and the way you generate the email list is you ask some questions when people join the group. That's what I do. And one of those questions is, hey, I don't own the Facebook channel. Can I communicate with you in the email channel as well? And if so, just enter your email address there. In our case, over half of the people that join our Facebook group also volunteer to provide their email address because we ask them to do. So to build an email list, Facebook groups absolutely work. And so the benefits, obviously, as I alluded to in the very early part of this video, armed with an audience, which is my Facebook group, my email list, and even my pixel list, if I'm pixeling everybody when they come to my subscribe page, which you should be, that audience is traffic on demand for me, and I can do all sorts of things with that. So very clearly, there's a whole lot of benefits. So how? Now we're at the point of how. And this is something that I am very personally engaged in right at this moment in time with my very own Facebook group, which you can get to at Brightideas.co/Facebook. Not too terribly long ago on the Social Media Examiner website, I ran across an interview with the entrepreneur woman who is behind the Boss Mom movement. And her interview on Social Media Examiner was all about how to create high levels of engagement in a Facebook group. And what we did was we took that interview and we reverse engineered it into a standard operating procedure for creating high levels of engagement in a Facebook group. So now that you could maybe delegate this to, or portions of this, to people on your team, maybe a virtual assistant, or if you're in the case where you have employees like I do, you could delegate a portion of it to employees. If you would like to get that SOP for free, I'd be very happy to give it to you. All you need to do is go to flowster.app, that's FLOWSTER.app, sign up for a free account, that is my SOP software company that I'm the founder of, and then submit a ticket to support@flowster.app and just say, hey, I want the Boss Mom Facebook engagement group SOP, and just like that, for free, it'll be all yours. All right, let's shift gears. That was my virtual stick shift there in case you didn't know that. And now we're going to answer a question from Rich. And again, Rich, your question was submitted a while ago, and I'm apologizing to you right now that I did not answer it earlier, but I was not producing these videos for some months, and now I'm back at it. When you land an exclusive or co-exclusive with a brand, then throw some time and money into improving their Amazon product listing footprint, how do you prevent the brand from allowing you to build up their presence only to decide to cancel their exclusive with you at a later point in time and sell via Amazon for themselves using their now well-marketed product suite? So that is an excellent question, Rich. Thank you very much for submitting it. There's a little bit more, but I think that, he's asking length of the contract. So the second half of the answer is easy. We typically go for a year in our contracts. Now, the first half of your question, Rich, how do you get brands to honor their agreement with you? Well, there's really not, from a legal perspective, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, you could litigate, of course, if they broke the contract, and if you had a good contract, maybe you win, maybe you won't, but that's a lot of negative energy and a lot of money in lawyers' fees, and you have to ask yourself the question, is that worth it or not? I'm not going to go down that road because I'd rather invest my time and energy in positive things that don't make me angry, and conflicts with other people like that make me angry. So what I would encourage you to focus on is figuring out how you can continually add value over and above just selling their products. And you need to be demonstrating that to them in writing on an ongoing basis. So for example, if you are doing 12 purchase orders a year, an average of 1 per month, in every single purchase order, I'm also going to include, here's what I've done for you lately, and here's the results, and here's what we're planning on doing over the next 30 days. And your task is to continue to find new, interesting, and valuable things that you can do for that brand over the next 30 days. Because you're only as good as how good they remember you being. So you must remind them over and over and over and over that you are exceptionally good and that you're a valuable partner. And when you do that, you will significantly extend the life of that account relationship. Does that mean it'll last forever? No, nothing lasts forever. Just like this video. This video doesn't last forever either. I'm almost done. But when you take that approach, they will always be reminded of how much value you're bringing to the table. And you need to make sure that those communications are happening outside it. They can be in email, but they need to also be outside of the email channel. They need to be on this thing, or ideally on this thing where you're doing a video conference and actually looking at each other. And if you do that, then you'll have success in maximizing the length and the profitability of the relationships you have with your wholesale accounts. All right, so let's wrap up. Housekeeping items. If you're not watching this on YouTube and you want to get notifications of future YouTube videos, go to Brightideas.co/YouTube. If you are wanting to get into the Facebook group that I mentioned in this video, go to Brightideas.co/Facebook. If you would like to check out the podcast, go to Brightideas.co/iTunes. And while you're at it, if you're a regular listener, we are closing in on the century mark for reviews. Our average rating right now is 5 stars. I would love it if you would take a moment and go ahead and leave us a review. And finally, if you would like to submit a question for my review for potentially a future video, you can do that at Brightideas.co/asktrent.